Okay, we're good. We're good. Doing the thing. I decided not to do Instagram live at the same time because it's too much. Okay, I think we're good. I think that sounds good. That sounds good to me. It doesn't matter about me, it's about you. That's I hope this sounds great. I did a video earlier and got a couple of nice little questions in there. So rather than use my phone for that's the wrong phone. Rather than use the phone for Das Instagrammer, I'm going to use it as a way of checking in uh, with the live stream because I don't trust StreamYard and its comments and things. Oh, there we go. Okay. And yeah, as and when questions arise or if we're having a conversation, I'll be looking on my phone. There is a comment section here. I don't know if it will do the thing or not. I don't really care because I got my phone. So we're good. So yes, the topic of today, of this live stream is basically something that I've noticed. I've noticed over the last literal year, the entire spread of lockdown and a little bit beforehand, but I didn't really kind of I wasn't really entertaining this notion that I had for the longest time. And then yeah, I decided, you know what, actually, this is a thing, this is an issue, and I feel that it's part of me and my little crusade of trying to help as many authors and coaches and speakers who have books or who need to be heard online get heard online more. And there's a few things I'm going to be talking about. It's not just the one thing. There's lots of techniques and things, and I know there's lots of other coaches out there who probably have way more expertise on the things that I'm going to be very, very superficially covering. But I'm a sound engineer, and unless those people, hey Shane, woo, unless those coaches are also sound engineers and are using those powers together, then I still got some skin in the game. I also learned English from Swahili, so having to do that whole thing, I feel that's kind of valid in the point of potentially helping people speak better online and present better online and do the thing that I'm doing right now, because I was never like this. Like this isn't something that just kind of happened. Um Giving you, oh, actually that sounds better. So this is what's happening right now is actually part of one of the things that I think is really important for people when it comes to having your own feedback system, right? So start off with a bit of background first because everyone likes a bit of a backstory. um so with my sound engineering, I started sound engineering at university. I actually started beforehand, when I was studying A levels in near Brighton, and I was studying music technology, and microphones was really, really important. Microphone placement for the drum kit when we're recording drum kit, microphone placement for voices, especially, and instruments. Like we have to learn the importance of microphone positioning. In addition to that, when it comes to microphone positioning, there's something that a lot of people don't really pay attention to, which is where the capsule within the microphone is in relation to where the sound is trying, like you're trying to find a sound and where is the capsule. And I do this because I want you to kind of imagine like a satellite dish is trying to find the best signal, right? So with a microphone, with this is a Blue Yeti right now, and the Blue Yeti is a little bit different in that, like, if you look at the back, that's the gain. So this is I can't do it with two hands. This has 4 different dials on the back of it, and I love Yetis for a reason, because of this thing, right? Which means you can change the shape of what's inside the capsule head, right? So it's not actually this. It's probably more like, kind of, there's a few of them. There's a few of these different kind of discs. So it means if I kind of start going around to the back of the microphone and I'm talking back here, you can't hear it. Why? Because the setting I have is in a heart shape, kind of like, it looks like that basically. So it means that everything back here doesn't get picked up, and only stuff in the front gets picked up. So again, if I go to the back here, it sounds terrible, but it's still the whole capsule. But when I come to the front, this sounds better. Now, there's sounding better and there's finding the sweet spot. And you only learn how to find the sweet spot if you're okay. This is the crucial thing, number one, with listening to your own voice. I used to hate my voice, right? Like the whole narration kind of thing. I hated it for ages. And as time went by, being able to serve people, the one thing that I had to start doing was listening to my own voice. And I now have reached a point where it doesn't bother me anymore. And you need to do this as well, right? Because when you have a microphone, if you want to try and figure out where the sweetest spot for the microphone is, you need to be able to talk into it and understand the differences when you're too close and you're right on top of the capsule versus when you're getting away and you find that sweet spot where you can talk into it and say, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers without the sibilance, kind of, the popping coming from the consonants. Now, I know I don't have a pop shield on here. I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered to have one because with the microphone, I have it at an angle as well. It's like microphone techniques are, a dime a dozen, but you need to be used to and comfortable with and actually enjoy listening to your own voice. Maybe it sounds a little bit self-absorbed. Yes, you do need to be a little bit self-absorbed when it comes to narrating and talking. And if you are going to narrate your blog posts, if you're going to be on podcasts, if you're going to have your own podcast, if you're going to narrate your own audiobook, which you should do if you're a speaker or a coach and you have a physical book out, then these are really crucial things for you. And the first thing you need to do is, for the love of God, love your own voice. Okay. Hi, Melody. Melody's got a great voice. I'm just going to say that right now because she's a singer and her voice is freaking amazing. But it's so crucial that you are comfortable with listening to yourself, because the way we sound in our head versus the way we sound outside of our head is actually different. They're different. There is science behind it. There's the way our inner ear works. I'm not going to go into the science, A, because I haven't done research, and B, you can search for that, or you can ask me questions. This is an AMA. You can ask me anything whilst we're going. You don't sound like a Muppet, Melody. You sound wonderful. Shh. But if you're cool with sounding like a Muppet and you can dig it, and that's your superpower, then that's fine. See, positive twists on everything. So love your voice. Number one, love your freaking voice. And if you're sat there kind of feeling uncomfortable going, oh, but I sound terrible. You don't, because people listen to you and they talk to you. You don't sound terrible. Sounding terrible is a weird subjective term anyway. There are some people who are going to love your voice and there's some people who are not going to gel with it. And that's just the way the cookie crumbles. And you have to carry on, right? I thought I got rid of all the coffee. So number one, you have to love your voice. Okay. And the way you can do that is just by recording ideas on your phone. Like if you have a smartphone, then you have a way to record yourself and listen to what you're doing. And I've been showing little ways. There's an end product. I should actually kind of show you a done with me kind of thing. Audiolabs was the most recent one that I was experimenting with, where you just talk into it, right? And from there, you listen back to what you've said, and you have to listen back to your voice and listen to kind of like, oh, does that sound great? Does that sound wrong? I'm breathing through my nose really heavily. I've actually got the microphone way too close and I'm talking really loudly. Like I can't talk loudly into microphones. It makes my heart hurt. But, you have to be able to understand how your voice works. Okay, and how to modify it. And the best feedback is listening to yourself. And then B, how your voice works with the equipment you have. So understanding the way your microphone works and knowing if you have it at a 45-degree angle. So, my voice is going this way, but the capsule of the microphone is actually this way, which means if I say harsh things like Bobby and Peter and parrots and carrots, there's no popping happening because of that one tiny little trick that you do. So you don't have to have it square on all the time, because the way the sound comes out sometimes is with this. I know it comes out in mono. And mono means it's one track. If it was dual mono or stereo, where you had two tracks and then you had the left and right thing, then that's a whole other thing. But for online stuff and live streaming, you don't need to worry about that. So number one, Love your goddamn voice. And if you don't, if you have issues, come chat with me. I have methods. They might include a bucket on your head. But I'm joking slightly. So number one, you need to love your voice. Okay. Number two is getting over yourself. Getting over yourself and just getting out there and doing the thing. I know for the most part, like the idea of doing this whole thing, like my whole setup for this is a lot, but like I kind of enjoy it. It's fun when I DJ, it's all kind of necessary. But you can quite easily cover the video up and do a black stream, a dark stream, and just talk, and get people used to just hearing you. And if you want to, you can add the kind of subtitle files and all the fluff afterwards. But right now, just film yourself in the dark and just get over yourself and do the damn thing. Now, if you find doing it on Facebook is really intimidating, which I totally get, like this whole thing, me being able to do this has taken me 3 freaking months. Okay. Like what I'm doing right now, what I have to do for the next like 30 days, I hate it, but I have to do it because I have to practice what I preach. I have to get over myself. You can stream just to nothing. Another thing you can do, which I implore people to do, is if you are writing, right? If you have blog posts, create Blaudio. I am about to copyright the frick out of that because I had the term Blaudio for like a year. Fun fact, my business, AudioFy, turned 1 today, which is mad. Wait, did it turn 1? No, it's turned 2. Holy crap, AudioFy is 2 years old. Where did 2020 go? That's crazy. Yay. So AudioFy's been around for 2 years and I've been in beta testing mode for that long. But get over yourself, right? Number 2, get over yourself and just do the thing. If you have blog posts, you can, okay, and this is not mind-blowing, you can narrate your own blog post. It's the best free practice you can do anywhere. And in addition to that, when you've narrated them, you can edit them if you want. And there is software out there. The best one for it is Descript, descript.com. So descript.com. I think you get like an hour of free recording. And if you have short blog posts, you could do like 10 blog posts before you have to pay for anything. But if you do that, right, you have your content as written content, and then you are narrating it. So you have audio content, and it's really easy to do. And if you have a WordPress website, you can actually use the WordPress editor in there and create a link to your MP3 file. You upload it, and then you create a link, and it sits on top of your blog post, and people can listen to your blog post, right? And with that, in Chrome, I know you can do this on Android in the Chrome browser. I don't know how it works elsewhere, but what I do with Mark Mason, I think his name's Mason, Mark Mason, he's the Everything is Fucked guy who wrote the book. And I get his blog posts and I play them and I lock my phone. So I leave my phone in the kitchen whilst I'm running around my flat and it keeps on playing. So his narration is playing in my ears. So I am reading his blog post through his own narrated audio, right? Which is genius. So you are missing out, okay, on a key audio creation content tool where you can practice narrating, practice listening to your voice, getting used to being comfortable with listening back to yourself, getting over yourself, not having to use video, and creating audio content. That audio content, all your blog posts, by the way, you can put into a podcast, okay? If you want a nice, easy, I wouldn't say throwaway, but like content, if you want to make it seasonal, if you want to make it a regular thing, whatever the hell you want to do, right? Your blog posts can become podcast episodes if you're doing a solo style podcast. I have created 2 forms of podcast, like audio content creation for you in 14 minutes. You're welcome. So those are the 2 crucial things, right? One, really get over, your hangups over your voice. Your voice is fine. You need to get used to listening to it outside of your head because it sounds different and it sounds wonderful. It sounds lovely. You just need to understand the tool you have, like your writing, like video editing, like the first time you started coaching, like that. It's the same thing, but you just happen to have had this thing since you were born, right? So get friendly with it. Make it your best friend. Make your own voice outside of your head your best friend. We won't talk about the voice inside your head. Next thing is, of course, get over yourself and just get it done. With audio, you don't need to do the whole visual thing. You can very, very easily record on WordPress. I just went through the whole thing. Record on WordPress, get it up there, and then you can repurpose that as a podcast kind of season, series, episode, whatever you want to do. Right? It is doable. Just trying to make sure there's no one talking. Okay, there's no one writing yet. Start asking me questions, by the way, because it's 20 minutes in. And I need you to ask me questions. So I said in the past video that I did, like literally before I did the podcast thing I was on, I am a Wikipedia of audio solutions and ideas and whatever, but I need you to ask me the questions. Okay. Wikipedia doesn't go up into everyone's face going, hey, look at me, I'm amazing. Here's some stuff that you didn't know you needed. Like, no, it works the other way around. And I could blather on about really geeky shit, but I know that's not what you guys need help with. And with these daily lives, oh my God, I'm doing this every day. With these daily lives, I want to help you guys. Like next year, I'm going fully into helping publishers and being a complete white label, and then I will be elsewhere in the world, choking people and saying hi to new friends and going home. So you guys need to ask me questions. Please ask me questions. In the meantime, crucial things that you need to think about when you're starting off with everything. Those are basically it. Those two. Get over yourself and just, love your voice, right? If you can do those two things, then you are ready and capable and probably already making content, right? So your phone, the microphone on your phone, if it's a newer smartphone, is great. The problem is the apps that come sometimes, like the in-house apps, like, if you use the standard voice recorder on your iPhone or your standard voice recorder on your Android, Samsung in my case, the way they record, the quality that they record is not great, right? Because without getting too technical, they basically squish the fuck out of the audio, right? Instead of letting it breathe in all its dynamic glory, it's squished down to like the quality of a phone call, right? Which is 96 kilobits per second. It's terrible, basically. But your microphone on your phone is actually amazing. And you need to find apps that take advantage of that and will record at a better quality. So I mentioned Audiolab before. I mentioned it again. Audiolabs gives you the opportunity to record at the highest possible quality that makes sound engineers like me really, really happy. So when you do want to just kind of riff randomly, if you reach the point where you want to make your written content as you walk, so you want to dictate, find good apps. I will create a page that just has a whole bunch of stuff on there. Recommended apps, both for iPhone and Android, although I have an S10 and an S8, so I am an all Android girl for my sins. So if you do have questions about iPhone, I will find answers from other sound engineers who use iPhones and will probably tell me. We can do unlegit questions. I don't mind, whatever. Like I'm sat here for an hour or 40 minutes now. So like we can chat about whatever. I'm totally game. And then I'm pretty sure people will come on afterwards, hopefully, and ask questions, and I can do the same thing tomorrow and the next day and the day after and the day after and so forth and so on. But yeah, so with your phone actually has a really amazing microphone, and learning how to master the wizardry of audio on your phone is not that hard. Like phones are getting better and better and better in every iteration, and the microphones are secretly getting better, right? You can get like stereo options. I know there's a button on both of these. So on both of these, I'm gonna try and do this without breaking things. I got an S8 and an S10. Okay, right? It's now or never. And with both of them, there's microphones at the bottom of both of them. They're more or less the same, except the size is different. And then there's a teeny tiny hole. Where are they? There you go. Teeny tiny hole up there, which basically the audio coming out, the speakers are now stereo, so you can kind of get a left and right stereo field when you're playing things out. People don't capitalize on this, but it's a thing that not many people really notice, but it happens. But the microphone in and of itself is now kind of starting to have this ability to pan, which means the quality of the microphone is getting better. So don't undermine the power of your phone. Obviously, editing and doing stuff on your phone is very, very, very fiddly. I remember the first time I started editing audio content on my phone. One client, I'm just going to say this out here, they don't know this. I tried it once. It was great, but I vowed never to do it again. One client had one of their podcast episodes edited solely on my phone because I couldn't get home and I had to edit their audio files. It took probably an hour longer than it usually does on my work MacBook, but I edited an entire podcast show on my phone, nearly wanted to cry, but I did it and it sounded almost exactly the same. There was just like one or two things that weren't quite there because the plugins that I use on my phone, on my laptop aren't the same on the phone. They're not there yet. Like the amazing plugins that I use are not quite there yet. I can't talk. The coffee's finally left my system on my phone. So that was a massive detour, but I've completely forgotten what I was going to say now. Podcasts, shows, dictation, audio, whatever. So you can use your phone to record a lot of stuff, and your phones are really, really, really powerful. Right. So if you feel like you don't have the equipment, there we go. If you feel you don't have the equipment, you have your phone. All you have to do is point your mouth hole to the microphone and have a decent enough app to record it, and you are in business. Like this whole setup right here is not necessary, but it helps once you reach that stage. But I'd say like the technological bit is maybe stage 5, right? Stage 1 and 2, I've already said a lot about. Stage 1 is learn to love your outside voice, outside your head. Stage 2 is get over yourself and just start getting stuff out there, because the more you practice, the better you become, the more feedback you have for yourself, and the more content you have out there. And everyone loves a growing story, right? Everyone loves when you started off and you just had, I don't know, a Sony dictation phone. Then you had to go from the tape to your computer and it sounded like absolute trash. And then you kind of reached a point where you had like a professional microphone and maybe a studio, if that's where you wanted to go. If you don't need to go that far because you're a coach, then, you just kind of chill at whatever stage you're at. But they're like that story, people love that, right? So don't rob your tribe, don't rob your people of a story, for God's sake, especially when it comes to audio, because it's super fun. So tools, you can start off with your phone. If you want to go a little bit next level with that, then there are options out there. There's £50 or like kind of, I suppose, $60 microphones. USB microphones are great. You're going to have sound engineers who are going to be like, no, you need to have an out desk and you need to have this and a compressor and you need to have like, no. In the analog days of yore, yes, fine, you needed to have all of that. But now, like, digital technology when it comes to audio is just moving so ridiculously fast. It's not necessary anymore for a lot of people. I know in certain kind of circles of speakers, especially now with lockdown, I've noticed a lot of people creating these insane setups, right? They have the ring light, and they have 2 cameras, and they have an iPad, and they have this like deck with like specialized buttons so they can get their OBS studio to make the video look really slick. And then they've got this amazing microphone that's an XLR microphone that's connected to this rack of really superfluous bullshit. It's not necessary, right? Audio, for the most part, is audio. If you're an audiophile, or if you need to go into something super, super professional, then fine. Go get a professional. Get someone like me that absolutely pores over that kind of stuff just to make your S's sound sexy. It's not your duty to kind of obsess over all of that. You literally need a decent microphone. If your room that you're recording in needs padding, then fine, we can start kind of jumping into that. But when it comes to tech, please avoid the entire shit show that is audiophilia. I'm probably using that word incorrectly, but I'm making it mine. Where people just obsess and get paralyzed over tech when they're not executing, right? I don't have padding in my living room. There's echoing. I can hear echoing right now. But one trick I'm doing is I'm keeping a very specific distance away from my microphone, because there's more signal coming from my mouth than there is being reflected over all the walls that I have not padded. If I was somewhere back here, all right, which is where most people are, most people tend to sit here, this is a problem. And you can hear that it's a problem. I'm still projecting my voice because vocal training has forced me to speak from my diaphragm rather than my chest. Thank you, Melody. Have fun on your call. Thank you for popping in. Really appreciate it. Love you. Sitting this far away from a microphone, there's a lot of problems. You can still kind of hear where I'm coming from, but there's a lot of background noise. If I'm further back, it just gets worse and worse and worse. I'm still projecting my voice because I don't know how not to. Hang on. It's really hard. Okay, if I'm still doing it. Okay. Projecting, if I'm not projecting my voice, if I'm not speaking from my diaphragm, it sounds bad, right? I'm a good arm's length away from my microphone, and it doesn't sound great. However, if I get closer to my microphone, and there's a very specific distance that I encourage people to use when they're near their microphone, that kind of negates the problem of your environment. It's this span. So if you do this with your hand from your pinky to your thumb, and you do this, you play the saxophone, right? If you do this, this distance is basically perfect for enough of your voice to come through and enough of the background to be ignored. Also, with the Blue Yeti, like I said right at the beginning, the shape of the Blue Yeti, the setting that I have on here is shaped like this. Not quite a heart. That'd be a heart. It's like this. So this end here is being reduced, and this end here is where, this bit is where my voice is. And I'm actually slightly to the side, so a sweeter spot would be here, but the only problem is my consonants would be heard. So I have a very specific distance from my microphone that I stay within, right? I might lean back for a second, but I'll always kind of come back to this distance, which is really, really important. So learning those kind of techniques is way more important than the equipment that you kind of go for, right? So when it comes to equipment, if we are going to look at equipment, which I was going to say, then I diverted and we're back here now. Basically, USB microphones are great. Okay. You don't need an audio interface to connect your other microphone into. All you have is your microphone, your USB microphone, a cable, and you plug it into your computer. The end. That's all you need when it comes to microphones. Of course, a boom mic stand. So I'm going to move this. All right. Have something like that is great. I shouldn't have done that. Having something like that is great because then it means you can actually move your microphone into a more ideal position rather than you like turning into freaking Smeagol from Lord of the Rings to try and position yourself to the microphone. Bring the microphone to you, right? You bring your fork to your mouth. You don't bring your mouth to a fork. Maybe you do. I don't know. I don't know how you eat your dinner. It's not my business. So all you need really is a USB microphone, a decent stand, a boom arm so you can move it around, and either it sits on your desk or you clamp. I prefer clamps. Mine's clamped just because I like moving around. I'm either on my work desk, which is over there, or I'm using a plank of wood on my footstool, which is what I'm doing right now, or I'll clamp it by the side of my TV if I'm doing something different. And that's pretty much all you need. If you find you are a bit heavy with your mouth, it's a weird term, but my singing teacher used to say, stop being heavy with your mouth. And what I mean by that is, you breathe excessively through your nose and you're kind of mouth breathing and you're doing this kind of stuff. And when there we go, when you're talking really kind of through your throat and it's really, in your face and everything kind of gets picked up on the microphone, like that's being heavy with your mouth. So if you do have that problem and you're not talking from your diaphragm, then a pop filter is your best friend. Okay, a pop filter helps. Techniques help more, but having a pop filter is really, really handy as well. So if you're going to go through the technology bit, get a USB microphone, get a boom arm. That's pretty much all you need. Get a nice, decent position to sit in or stand in. Standing is actually really great for narrating through a microphone. And I like sitting, but I sit very upright, which still gives me a lot of room for my diaphragm to do what it's doing right now, as opposed to, what I'm trying to do before. Because if you're hunched over like this, all right, that changes your ability to breathe properly. And all of a sudden you have to kind of speak through your throat. And if you're doing a lot of Zoom calls or consultations during the day, that is going to stress your throat out a lot, and you're going to croak, and your voice is just going to die, which for podcasts isn't great, and which is an absolute nightmare for audiobooks. Like, I haven't gone into audiobooks a great deal today. I'm going to do that in another episode. I think I'll do podcasts, blog audio, and then podcasts, and then audiobooks, and how to start your own audiobook, because you don't actually need me for your audiobook. It helps if you want to sound sexy, but you can actually do it yourself, and I will show you how to do that in another live stream. So that's been 30 minutes of me going on a full-on monologue, which is insane, because I've just been on a podcast for 90 minutes beforehand, and I'm still talking, which is mad. So this is probably going to, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to disconnect you, right? And then it's probably still going to make noise. I want to see if there's any comments. Nope. Nope, no more comments. Okay, cool. So I've done 30 minutes of blathering on about the first crucial steps that you need in regards to being heard online. Right. So being heard online is really important. A lot of people want to kind of create content. Like, content creation, I know, is a hot thing, a hot topic, like where you repurpose everything, blah, 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 blah. Fine. But a lot of people are actually really intimidated by the crucial requirements of, when it comes to video, showing up on video. My good friend, Mark Whitehand, my good right honorable friend, he's going to kill me for this. But Mark Whitehand does the things with video, right? You just shoot yourself in the face. Like, you get your phone and you just shoot yourself in the face. He does live streams every freaking day like a machine when he's out walking his dogs, right? And he's not using any professional stuff. He's just using his phone. And people don't do that. People find a lot of fear, reasons, and excuses to avoid doing that. And the same happens with audio. The only difference between audio and video is one, video takes my job into it, but audio doesn't have the visual, right? And you can have audio without, you can have video without the audio. So when it comes to just like getting out there, it's really, really crucial. If you want to be heard online, you need to start freaking speaking, people, and find a way that is comfortable for you. And I know a lot of people don't like talking. That's fine. If you're a speaker, that's a bit of a problem. If you only speak on stage, then how are people gonna enter your world? Like, there's a client journey, there's a user journey that needs to be had, and those people need to find you. So yes, you can guest on podcasts, fine. Yes, you can be on stage, fine. But then what else is there? How else are people going to hear you? How else are people going to love your voice, right? Remember rule number 1, love your own goddamn voice outside your head, right? So if you can't love yourself, how in the hell is anyone else going to love you? That's not the way it goes. It's a RuPaul reference, if you watch Drag Race. So, beyond your professional audio outlook on stuff, you need to have additional little things for people to be able to enter into your world, which is why I feel audio is really important, which is why I've managed to natter on for 33 goddamn minutes about the first crucial steps that people need to do to be able to be heard online. I've got some questions from my previous video, which is good. I'm going to answer those. I am going to just say that I am creating a Master Your Online Voice course, which is going to be the most unconventional course I've seen so far, as when it comes to kind of like just getting people to do this, just get through just talking. There's not going to be any video. It's all going to be audio. It's going to be ridiculous. You might want to do video. There will be buckets. It's Master Your Online Voice course, and the Alpha Fleet, that's what I'm gonna call people, will be setting sail. So corny. We'll be setting sail in January on my birthday. So if you've managed to reach the 34th minute of this and you're hearing about the Master Your Online Voice course that I've created that is sitting and has been waiting for 3 goddamn months because I'm such a shit when it comes to these kind of things. I'm going to be talking about this every single day for the next God knows how many days. If you want to be part of the Alpha Fleet, my birthday is in January, and that's when it's going to launch. And that's when I'm going to have some fun. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. If you manage to reach this point and you're still listening, I would like you to write Alpha Fleet in the comments, so I know that you reach this point. And if you do reach Alpha Fleet, I'm going to reach out to you and we're going to have a chat. It's not a pitch. I'm not going to pitch to you. I don't do pitching, right? We're going to have a chat because I have questions for you, because you managed to reach the 35th minute of my first live Ask Me Anything where I've just been wittering on. Anyway, so I'm now going to try and go, oh yes, it's muted. Yeah, I do technology. I've managed to go into my other live stream and I'm going to answer some questions now. So if I take this all the way to the end and pause it, like a genius, there are some questions. I think my brother from another mother, who's also my mother, but not my mother, Adil, absolute legend that he is, asked some questions. So let me go and find it. Is there anyone in here? Yes. Hello humans. Ask me questions. Where is it? There we go. Okay. Okay, so Adil has asked a few questions. Question number 1: how do you dampen your sound? Oh wait, let me speak with actual words rather than grunting. How do you dampen your room sound? I'm just going to say it like that. I don't know why my brain's kind of doing the thing. So you can sound as sharp as you do. So when it comes to room dampening, reflections are not just to do with the mirror. That's a visual reflection. Audio reflections are a thing. And I'm going to timestamp these so people can find their answers real quick. So yeah, cool. So when it comes to dampening a room, it's really important to consider every single surface, right? I'm kind of fortunate in that I have carpet underlay as well. I carpeted my entire flat when I moved in here, and I had to do some very quick things. And I have very, 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 very expensive commercial underlay underneath my carpet. Yes, I have red carpets. I like red, okay? But underneath my red carpets is very expensive, very thick, sound absorbing underlay, mainly because I was going to be playing my cello and my guitars and my bass guitar and all my instruments in my flat, and I didn't want to offend other people. So your floor is the first area to kind of consider. So buying carpets, having the odd kind of thick carpet in your room of choice that you're going to record in is a good way to dampen the floor. If you have a chair, try not to make it squeaky, or try not to have a squeaky chair. Like the moving ones are all well and good, but when you're doing a recording, try and lock it up so it doesn't swing anywhere. So you're reducing the amount of cracks. Like these headphones are actually, I love them, but they're actually bad because this happens. Like literally, they're squeaky. There we go. They're the squeakiest things ever, but I love them because they're really good microphones. Headphones, not microphones. So dampening the floor is really important. Make sure you don't have a squeaky chair. I mentioned before, and I mention it again, the distance that you hold from your microphone to your mouth is really, really important. And this is my distance. So everyone's going to be different. Everyone's hand is going to be a different size, but this is basically my reference point, and what I'm doing right now is it's that distance. I think it also reaches, if you want to do this doesn't look dodgy at all. So 2 fists, one behind another, right? To get that perfect distance, you need to be able to reach fit 2 fists between the distance of the microphone to your mouth, right? If you're closer than that, if you're 1 fist away, it's a little bit too much. And you'll have to learn how to kind of hold back on your vocals. And again, this is why external feedback and being able to be comfortable with your voice is required, so you can kind of edit yourself, as it were, as you go. But yeah, 2 fists basically is what you need to help encourage the microphone, because the microphone, again, is just a satellite dish, which I said right at the beginning. Microphone um, is sensitive to your voice, right? So the closer you are to it, the better everything sounds. There's still echo in this room because I have big ass windows. I'm in a Victorian conversion, which means my ceiling is like 3 meters up, right? It keeps on going. And I've done nothing to that. I have done no treatment to the walls either. And I could if I wanted to. But this technique alone here and speaking and breathing from your diaphragm, which I'm going to do in the next video, because there's a lot of technique here, and also I need to be standing up, so I'll do the next video standing up to show you what I mean. But speaking from your diaphragm means your projection into the microphone is way better and doesn't have all the mess of your nose and your mouth that tends to happen when you're breathing like this, and you're breathing through your mouth and your throat, and then you have all these consonants coming through, and you need a pop filter and like all that kind of jazz is, wow, I hate breathing like that. All that kind of stuff doesn't help. So you need to do that. So basically, either two fists, 2 fist distance, or that helps with increasing the crispness of your voice. And I'm going to add to that because it's there's no other questions here. The other questions kind of go away from this, and I think this is a really important point to have. Is when you go online to stream anything, and this goes for video more so than it does audio, use an Ethernet connection, right? Like, I am as clear as I am now because I'm connected to the internet through an Ethernet cable. There's a big, thick old white cable kind of going underneath my leg right now. And I learned this from when I was DJing, because when I was DJing through Zoom, yes, that was a thing. I spent about 3 days in Reddit forums, and that's where I'm usually am now, trying to figure out how to send the clearest, highest quality audio through Zoom. I don't care if the video was shit. I don't even care if I didn't have any video. I wanted the audio to sound perfect. And between that and another friend of mine, Drew, because I was DJing with him, the most important factor was having an Ethernet connection. My little MacBook Air doesn't actually have an Ethernet connection. It has 2 USB-A ports and a Thunderbolt 2 port. So I have a Thunderbolt to Ethernet cable, right? And that's how I've connected into it. And that is the most important thing. If you're going online, you need to have a really strong connection. And Wi-Fi is handy, but honestly, like, when you're doing your podcast recording, and the podcast that I did before coming on here, the guy was like, "You're really, really clear." I'm like, "Yeah, one, decent setup, decent microphone." But to be honest, the Ethernet connection meant that the entire amount of data of my audio was being sent through crystal clear. Slightly geeky thing, but it's a difference. It's a huge difference. I'm probably not going to do a live on Wi-Fi, but it is night and day. There's older ones that I've done that have had that issue. Okay, so to get your sound as sharp, get your sound as sharp as possible. Lots of dampening, your floor, your ceiling, your windows, curtains. Heavy curtains are really good. And then walls, pillows work quite well if you have your IT space, if you have a desk in a room in your house, right? Behind your monitor, please don't burn the pillow. Okay, don't squish it behind a monitor that's at like 2000 degrees Celsius. Okay, I'm not encouraging you to do that. But if you put padding, pillows behind, your monitor, so at least that wall is kind of protected with dampening options. If you're really desperate, like I've done this before, get a blanket. So this is a fleece blanket. It's not mine. It's my cat's, who's currently sleeping. You can put that over your head. I did one podcast episode in my bathroom because the front and the back, everyone was drilling and sawing and sirens, and I don't know what the hell was going on. It's the end of the world, and I needed to record my episode. And I sat in my bathtub with my laptop, with my little table, and yeah, I put my duvet cover. Actually, I didn't even put a fleece. I put a duvet cover over my head and recorded like that. To be honest, the best, but you do end up boiling. It's like being in a sauna. And thus ends the answering of that question. Next question is, how do you edit an audio file? As in, what programs do you use and which tools? Ooh, okay. I'm gonna give a basic version, and then what I personally use, because they're a little bit different. So if you're a person that wants to edit your own audio, I recommend either getting Adobe Audition or GarageBand if you're on Apple. Those two are the best basic bits of software that have a little bit of powerful wiggle room for you to edit your audio as and when you need to. I am creating courses for those as well, but I need to have more conversations with people before I kind of go into that. So Audition, Adobe Audition or GarageBand are good audio editing bits of software. Audacity, if you don't have Audacity on your computer and you're editing audio and you don't have it, go get it. It's free and it is the most ninja piece of software ever. It's on everything: PC, Apple, Linux, Unix, whatever. Like, it's on there. It's free. Go and freaking Google Audacity audio and go download it. It looks like 1995 is trying to make a comeback when it comes to user interfaces, but it's such a powerful free bit of kit. It's amazing. I actually use it whenever a client send me audio and I need to clean it. I actually use the noise reduction tool on there, because you sample a little bit of silence, right, which has all the noisy bits that you don't want, and then you just apply it to the whole thing. Boom! It just knocks out all the dirt. It's beautiful, beautiful. So Audacity, go and get that. Okay, if you don't go and get Audacity, it's free. It's freaking free. Then I don't know how to help you, fair human. So Audacity is free. Then if you want the basic option, you can either use Audition, Adobe Audition, or GarageBand for basic editing, which is really good for podcast editing if you want to kind of have a really good control over it. When it does come to podcast editing, there's loads of software out there. I've got an affiliate with Alitu because it's really cute as a name. It rolls off the tongue, and it's web-based editing, and it does a lot of smart stuff. It does loads of stuff for you, and I'm an affiliate because I like it. I actually love the software, not because I get a teeny tiny bit of cashback, whatever. I don't actually care for that. The software is great. The price is great. If that's what you want to do, if you don't want to be as hands-on as using GarageBand or Audition, although I think it's a good idea. When you learn how to do templating, and I teach that, then doing an episode and banging it out in no time flat is way better, and you have control, and you're not working in someone else's garden. Right, that's one issue I have. I love Alitu, yes, but also I really don't believe in working other people's gardens, like I'm doing in Facebook, yes, but I don't want to be here forever, because if I get kicked off, then that's my whole business gone, and no one likes that. Same with your audio. You're doing all your podcasts on a web-based app, or you're doing it on a podcast business, whatever thing, and then they get bought out or they change their services or whatever, and then all of a sudden you've just lost all your stuff, or you have to download all your audio files, and then you're back in this position where you need to figure out what software to use. So Audition or GarageBand is great. Their basic plugins are really, really good. If you start looking at plugins, then you need to start lifting your game up. So I personally use Logic Pro X. I think they've ditched the X and just gone Logic Pro, whatever. I'm on a Mac, and the only reason I'm on a Mac is because of Logic Pro, right? It's £200 or £199, $200. I think they do the dollar pound thing. For £200, you're getting an insanely powerful bit of kit. Loads of people use it. Yes, there's Pro Tools, and yes, there's Cubase. I used Cubase before I used Logic. I don't recommend Ableton. Ableton's a bit weird when it comes to just like straight editing. And there's so many out there. Bitwig, Studio One would probably be what I'd move on to if I wasn't using Logic. So many out there, but I use Logic Pro. And the plugins that I use is by a company called Isotope, right? And I use RX7. Why hiccup? I use RX7, and RX7 is basically an insane powerhouse of plugins that are designed for post-production. To be honest, they mainly use it for films, right? And high-level sound engineers use all of this. I'm a high-level sound engineer. I use this because it makes editing voice a dream, and it takes me anywhere from seconds to minutes to edit stuff, as opposed to sitting there and like manually editing like audio and manipulating it. And I create templates a lot. So depending on the vocal style of someone, so if someone's more bassy like myself, or Adele, I have a template for that. If someone's a little bit kind of more raspy and they have like higher kind of things going on in their voice, I have a template for that. Like high female voices, low female voices, high male voices, low male voices. I have templates for all of that because templating saves time. The end. So that's what I do. Those are the tools that I use. I don't really use anything more than that because vocals, voice, narration is actually really, really, to me, simple. What becomes a dark art is mastering, the mastery of mastering. And that just comes over time. I've been a sound engineer since 2003, and working professionally since 2008. So I think just my ears are set. I love listening to Stephen Fry, and Stephen Fry is basically my kind of level of how I want everyone to sound. Not his voice. I don't want everyone to sound like Stephen Fry. I want everyone to sound and have the sound clarity that Stephen Fry's productions have. I'm just going to plug it because I love it, and it came up in my Spotify 2020 Wrapped thing. The 7 Deadly Sins by Stephen Fry. I think it's 8 episodes, 7 episodes, 8 episodes. I consume that in a day because I love the man's voice and I love the way he talks about things. So if you want an idea of what I mean about, kind of high quality production and what I'm aspiring to, listen to 7 Deadly Sins. Not so much the music kind of background thing because I'm not really interested in that. But that's what I do. I use Isotope RX7. I got a couple of other little plugins, but they're cheeky. And then Logic Pro X. That's my whole thing. That's what I use. And if you're basic, kind of wanting to use basic things, Adobe Audition if you're on PC, I think it's on Mac as well. Or why is my brain gone blank? GarageBand if you're on Mac. Reaper is another really good one that I'm going to be doing a course on and helping people with as well. I think it's about 67 euros. And then Audacity is free. Get Audacity regardless. Just go get it now. Do the thing. Actually, do it after I finish talking. And then what's the last question? Oh, we're almost at an hour. Look at me doing the thing. Will you ever release and teach a course on how to do something like this quickly? I.e., how do I go from you can hear me, but there's echo and I sound really sharp and poppy to absolutely crisp, sweet, and people can hear my voice perfectly? Another plug. I get to do another plug. My cat is licking himself. That's not me. Of course, yes, I am. I have my Master Your Online Voice course, which I've been sitting on for 3 months now. It's basically everything that I've spoken about for the first half hour of this hour. I kind of covered in, the basic crucial things that people need to do to be heard online. And it has more about your personal mindset as opposed to anything else. So the Master Your Online Voice course literally gets you through the first 4 hurdles when it comes to sounding really, really good. There is some vocal coaching in the course because I have gone through an extensive amount of vocal coaching from the age of 7. Yeah, 7. Wow, I can really hear my cat through this microphone. And I remember some of the techniques. Yes, one of them involves a bucket, and they're really easy. And I helped. I was talking to Ed Davies on last week, and he was talking about, his voice gets tired whilst he's on Zoom and consulting and stuff. I'm just like, yeah, if you're speaking through your throat, like your throat's going to get really tired really, really quickly. It's like, oh, and I'm like, you should breathe through your diaphragm. You need to like fill your lungs and kind of project from there. And we did a really, really quick kind of coaching session where I taught him, some of the things that I know. And I got told off for not sharing it with the world. So I'm going to share that with the world in the next live stream. But I am doing a course. I have a course. I have Master Your Online Voice, which is the course. MYOV for short, because it's a tongue twister when you've been speaking for almost 2.5 hours now, which is mad. MYOV is starting in January, and I'm looking for my alpha fleet. Right, the first guys, the first ones to get stuck in and help create, mold it into something way more fun, and way more tangible. So again, if you're here on the 54th minute, I want you, the fuck, I want you to write Alpha Fleet in the comments so I know what's good. So I know like this is actually working. Alpha Fleet, let me see what's good. So I am doing a course. The question again was, how do I go from you can hear me, but there's an echo and I sound really sharp and poppy, to absolutely crisp, sweet, and people can hear my voice perfectly. That's basically what Master Your Online Voice is. Whether you're a seasoned professional or whether you want to talk online, but you're absolutely terrified, where I'm creating a super fun, silly space where we're going to be just doing some really stupid shit, right? But ultimately, it means you're more comfortable with yourself and talking online. So that's my plug. Alpha Fleet in the comments. Go do the thing. Cool. So that is my first live stream. That's a long ass live stream. I don't think I'm going to do an hour again, but I did say on my little event thing that I was going to do an hour. So I stuck to it. And I've managed to do a full on monologue for this long. Like, what the hell? I need a burger. So yeah, thank you so much for everyone who jumped in at the beginning and throughout the entire hour. If you're watching now on the replay, do the hashtag replay thing. I know I should have said that like intermittently through the whole thing. I don't know. I'll put it in the comments or something. Whatever. I'm pretty spent. I'll be honest. Monologuing for 2.5 hours. That's a bit of a Trump hand movement to do. I'm not going to do that anymore. Monologuing for 2 hours has me pretty damn spent. But if it helped at all, if there's anything, hey, hi, yeah, solidarity is needed at the very end. I'd really appreciate it. Just let me know, like, if any of this helped, if there was anything helpful at any point. If you're hitting on the replay, let me know you're in on the replay. This is obviously on my personal profile. This is on my AudioFy page as well, because I'm going to be creating a season on there. It's also on my YouTube channel, which I haven't really said much about because I'm putting content on there before I'm going to yeet it into space. So yeah, find me. Thank you. Find me on those 3 channels, wherever. Ask me questions. If you don't want to ask questions on here, ask questions in my DM, like email me, whatever. Like find me somewhere. I'm even on Instagram. I didn't Instagram tonight, but I'm on Instagram because I'm on a mission to help as many people as humanly possible get their voices heard online before I take this mission back home to Kenya and get an audio and publishing company set up in Kenya to publish books. That's the first time I've actually said that out loud, and it's actually kind of terrifying. But that's the big mission. That's why AudioFy exists. That's why AudioFy today is 2 years old. That's why I'm still carrying on with it, even though every other day I want to dump it and go back to being a personal trainer. But there's a bigger mission that I'm doing, which is why I'm going to be going home, which is why I'm going to be traveling around the world with AudioFy, because I want to publish books, not just in English and not just about business. I want to publish books. I want to publish stories. I actually want to publish African sci-fi stories, which I'm writing at the moment. So that's what AudioFy actually is going to be for. But I want to help as many business entrepreneurs, speakers, authors, coaches get their freaking voice out, because it needs to be done, right? If people can't read, they're going to listen. People are buying audiobooks. People are listening to podcasts. Yes, like writing is never going to go away, but ultimately, audio is here, narration is here. People like voices. People can relate to voices way more than they can to writing. If you're more comfortable writing, keep on writing. If you don't like writing and you don't like video, there's audio. And this is what I'm here to help you with. Whew. Okay, I'm gonna chill now because I'm really freaking tired. I'm actually quite hungry. It is 8 o'clock on the dot. We are 59 minutes in, and I think this is a really good place to wrap it up. Thank you so much for popping in. Even if you listen to 30 seconds of this, if you listen to this bit and that's all you listen to, I still love you. I love your faces. Hopefully I get to hug some of you in person real soon, because this lockdown can go get in the fucking sea. Until tomorrow, I'm going to do a half-hour live stream rather than a full hour. It might end up being 45 minutes if there's more questions. And probably more at like lunchtime. I think a lunchtime live stream is going to happen next. Evening was fun. Lunchtime is better. Until then, have a wonderful evening, day, weekend, whatever you're getting up to, and I'll see you later. All right, gonna end the stream. Bye.